Welcome back, everyone, to the smartest year ever, our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalist. My name is Gordy, and all this week we are covering the new 7 wonders of the world, one each day. Today, Petra, the ancient city carved into the rose-red cliffs of Jordan, lost for centuries and hiding way more than just that one fancy temple from Indiana Jones. Like and subscribe if you haven't, so you can keep up. I've got more wonders coming up every day this week. Let's talk about a city carved straight from those rose-colored cliffs. Not built, but actually carved. Doorways, temples, tombs, and columns, all chiseled out of the solid rock in the middle of the Jordanian desert. This is Petra, an ancient capital, a lost trade hub, and one of the most mind-blowing places humans have ever lived. It is truly astounding. One of the most gorgeous places on this list, I think. You need to let me know in the comments if you agree. But for centuries, the outside world had no idea it was even there. Also know the Holy Grail is not located there. If you know, you know. Dun, 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 dun. But that famous facade, the one carved straight into the cliff face, the one that I've showed you pictures of already, that's just the beginning. It's called Al-Khazneh, or the treasury, and it's one of hundreds of structures carved into sandstone in what was once the thriving capital of the Nabataean kingdom, a powerful Arab people you've probably never heard of. Well, I don't think I had, at least before this. The treasury is about 130 feet tall with intricate carvings blending Greek, Roman, and Nabataean styles. Think Corinthian columns, statues, and decorative urns all sculpted from a single cliff face. I'll have to do an episode on the difference between column types because I definitely veered off onto that. If I was still going scattershot with my topics, I would have hit you with a column one, but I'll save that one for later, like Doric or Ionic or Corinthian, but not today. Not today, but I will eventually. But despite the name, it probably wasn't a treasury at all, more like a royal tomb or ceremonial monument. And that big urn on top, you see that? Local legend claims it held hidden riches, so it is still pockmarked with bullet holes from treasure hunters hoping to break it open. But nowadays they just say it's purely decorative, so that's kind of a buzzkill. But who were the Nabataeans? They were desert masters, traders, engineers, and low-key water geniuses. Around the 4th century BCE, they built Petra into a vital crossroads for trade caravans carrying incense, spices, and silk between Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. But they didn't just build on the land. As I mentioned, they built into it, carved into it. Because, it wasn't built with bricks. Petra wasn't built with bricks, it was carved. Entire temples, tombs, and amphitheaters were chiseled directly into the stone walls of desert canyons, one column at a time. Even their aqueducts and water channels were built right into the rock to capture flash floods and store water in cisterns. They were basically reverse engineering oases in the desert. The name Petra comes from the Greek word for rock, same root as Petros, which is where we get the name Peter in the Bible. Jesus tells the apostle Simon, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." Right? In Greek, it's wordplay. You are Petros, and on this Petra I will build my church. Think of the word petrify, for example. Turn to stone. You get it. But at its height, Petra may have had around 20,000 residents, a mix of cultures and influences. You can see traces of Greek, Roman, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian styles in the carvings, like the columns I mentioned. And the Nabataeans were essentially collecting architectural ideas along their trade routes and remixing them into their own desert aesthetic. But then the city just kind of fell off the map, vanished. Well, not all at once. Trade routes began to shift. The Romans took over, earthquakes struck, and by the 7th century CE, Petra was mostly abandoned, and the world forgot it existed. Well, and the Eurocentric world, that is, like local Bedouin tribes who have been living in and around this site for the whole time didn't forget, To them, it wasn't lost, but it was just ignored by maps that didn't ask the locals. But then it was rediscovered in 1812 when a Swiss explorer named Johann Ludwig Burckhardt disguised himself as a Muslim scholar to sneak in and take notes, like some 1800s Assassin's Creed kind of deal. He then died a few years later of dysentery. He chose his water poorly. Indiana Jones joke again, right? Since then, Petra has been slowly reclaimed, not by nature, but by archaeologists. Less than 20% of the site has been excavated, and we're still finding new chambers, crypts, and buildings under the sand. I think that's so freaking cool. So yeah, maybe the Holy Grail is there. But Petra isn't just a movie set, It's a marvel of ancient engineering, cultural fusion, and sheer chisel-based ambition. A city carved, forgotten, and found again. So there you have it. Petra, not just a lost city, but a sandstone archive of a civilization that literally left its mark in stone. I think it's seriously just one of the most gorgeous places that I've seen. Not in person, but just, even this picture is just beautiful. Thanks to all my sources, which can be found in the YouTube description. Have you been to Petra? Did you know about it? Let me know in the comments. Follow, rate, like, subscribe as well, and share this with someone who would like this sort of thing. I'd really appreciate that. And then you can go check out the 1-minute version on social media everywhere, @SmartestYearEver. Go find me there for that 1-minute version. And in the meantime, stay curious and stay clever on our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalists. I will see you tomorrow in the smartest year ever.